Shirvan Speaks is brought to you by FitzGerald Financial Group, a division of TowneBank Mortgage. NMLS number 512138. Shirvan Joseph, our host, is NMLS registered. NMLS number 188513. The contents are for informational and educational purposes only. We are not financial advisors. Shirvan Joseph and FitzGerald Financial Group are equal housing lenders. This is not a commitment to lend. Enjoy.
All right. Hey, Jason. Welcome to Shirvan Speaks. You are a prolific and legendary producing loan officer, and manager. And a lot of people don't know that about you. And I'm just so happy that you're here. So I guess to start us off, and this is a continuing interview in a series of interviews with the loan officers of FitzGerald Financial TowneBank. And why we are so successful is because of guys like Jason. So all of a sudden, you've been in the industry over 30 years. Okay. You know,
it doesn't even make sense.
It doesn't.
And that long.
And then you have to ask yourself, well, how did you get started? How did you, what has changed since that 30-year window?
You know, it's funny that I'm even in the industry because I still think about this a lot.
Right.
I was driving back home. I was still living with my parents.
Right.
Just out of college. I'm going past the Bel Air exit. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to stop by and see my buddy Will. You probably remember the name Bill Wilcox.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So his son, Will, I was like, I'm going to stop by and see Will. And he was still living at home, too. Right. Just hanging out. Big Will pops in. And we're very friendly. And I told him, I just had this terrible job interview. I spent a half day with this guy shadowing him. And
right.
And so he's like, well, what do you want to do? I said, I don't know. And he's like, want to come work for me? I'm like, I don't know.
You want?
So he said, well, why don't you come down, the next week or so.
Right.
You can interview with all the different departments. That's literally how I got started. I started in the mortgage trainee program, which was basically you spent like 18 months, 2 years. You just rotated.
Right.
Underwriting, processing.
So you learned the whole gamut. You learned all the business, right?
You learned the whole deal. I took a position in the secondary marketing department.
Very nice.
For a year or so.
Sure.
Then I went to TowneBank, and I was a one-man show. I was originating loans, processing, underwriting prep, presenting to the board for loan approval, closing the loan, shipping the loan. And we were also a little wholesale operation. So I had people brokering new business too.
Oh, very nice though. I mean, talk about learning everything
So my first
condition
5 to 6 years was I really got to see all
right. Yeah.
And so at a golf tournament, I won the longest drive contest, and Kenny forgot to bring the prize, which was a wedge or something like
right.
that. And so we met up later. And he gave it to me, and we kind of hit it off. And he's the one that helped me get my next job, which got me in wholesale. So that was fun for a long time. I would just ride around town, go to places. That's how I met Dan.
Yep.
And just do my little show and say, please send me.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And it went great for many years.
Right.
I got to know everybody in the industry.
But what you did and the cycle you went through. Wow, that's rare though for someone to have traveled all those paths.
It was really good and here's why it was good to have all those experiences and get to know people like Dan. Because when we had the housing crash, construction lending became 4-letter word.
Yeah,
I broke for 2 years. I had to transition to retail. Become on the retail side now. Actually, rates dropped because I was just doing refis. I got really busy. My clients were loan officers, so I had to create my own sphere.
Right, sure.
So after a couple of years being a broker, rates kind of went up a little bit, became more about purchase business.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm not in control of anything being a broker.
No.
And so I knew I had to get away from that. And so what I did is I called Dan, I called Gary Rader, all these guys that I respected and liked because I knew them all. And I'm like, well, I need to go somewhere where I can get stuff done.
Right.
And so I did all the interviews, met with Dan. I'm like, it's Dan.
Gotta be Dan.
It's gotta be Dan.
Yeah.
But what I did was, as I went into all the rosters, like Arthur.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
my main guy.
Right.
Sherman, Sam Leach, Jerry
Yeah,
Benner,
yeah,
like
yeah.
all
Great
down the
people, all-
line. That made it so easy to be like, that's where I'm going. And I think that was almost 10 years ago.
Yeah, and one of the best decisions you made and we made because
Clearly a
you've
great
been
decision.
phenomenal. And it just shows by you listing and naming those people and me including you in that roster, the quality people that really make FitzGerald Financial,
Yeah.
FitzGerald Financial. It's all about people. But so you've become quite the legend. You know, the mortgage dudes, if you go on any of the social media sites, I'm just always impressed because it's totally you. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
it
I have
takes a
to
while,
ask,
but I'm getting
how
there.
did the mortgage dude, the character itself, get started?
So this realtor buddy of mine, she started doing video, and we would get together, and I would bring it up. Be like, yeah, I just do video.
Right.
And 6 to 12 months later, we get together again, and she's doing video, and I'm like, yeah, I think I should do that. Finally, she's like, stop being a baby
Get
and do a
started.
video today.
Oh,
And I was like, okay. And I did it right over there in this office when I was working here. And
Right.
I just did one. And that's kind of what started it, right?
Right.
And I just, no thought, I called it the Mortgage Dude Minute. There was no mortgage, there was no
Mortgage
character,
Minute.
right?
Yeah.
God awful. They were terrible.
No, they weren't terrible.
But
They were different.
they were different.
Yes.
And so after about 6 months, I'm like, well, this isn't getting business. I get 300 views, 6
Right.
likes, who cares?
Right. Right.
You know, mint target. I don't see this guy. He's like, what's up, mortgage dude? And I was like, okay, that's something.
Yeah. Well, that's more than something.
You don't know who's watching.
No, you don't. You really don't.
So that's literally what was the catalyst for like, all right, I need to keep doing this.
Right.
So the people are listening. I don't know who,
Right.
but it's got to be helping at some level. And so I just kept doing it, and I started getting a little better. And leading into the pandemic, I was to the point where I'm doing about 2 a week. I'm getting a little better, but they're still kind of awkward and weird. Some of them are funny, some of them are not. It's a work in progress. And really what took it to what really created the real mortgage was the pandemic.
That's where the pandemic.
That's where the hair grew out.
Right. Yes. Yes. Because I remember
Yeah, it was,
you with the nice short haircut.
it's weird because Wendy, my wife, for years, would you not get a haircut, not get it cut so short? So I'd come home and she'd be like, tennis ball heads here, because I would get it.
You prop. Yeah.
When I got a little bit longer, I thought my head was enormous. So
Right.
I never broke through.
Ah, okay.
Then you break through. You
Break
break
through, and it's look at it. Look at this.
Look.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah.
What do you think about the NAR situation and what changes do you think will bring to the mortgage industry?
Yeah, I just did a Zoom call last week I do a monthly Zoom call with realtors. And it was really cool to hear from some of these people who've been in the industry like us 30 years.
Right.
And what I loved about it was like, we're going to find it. We're going to get through it.
Yeah.
Right. And so it was really refreshing to hear that.
Yeah, I love that.
And so what I think is like, we got to be more collaborative and supportive.
Sure.
The realtor lender dynamic. We
Right.
always kind of need each other more than ever. Like we have to have stronger relationships because it's going to be all about educating the buyer itself.
Absolutely.
And so we're going to have to show buyers the reasons why, things have to be played out a certain way. And realtors are going to have to clearly educate sellers on why it's probably a good idea to pay the buyer side commission.
No, I
more
agree.
people walking through your house.
Sure.
So yeah, I don't know where it's going to go, but I do think it's going to find its way. One thing really stirs me and jumps out more than anything is like for the people that really need it,
Yeah.
like the first timers
Yes.
and people that need
Yes.
grant programs and down payment assistance. Clearly, this isn't good for them. It's not helpful for them. It's going to be more challenging for them to win.
Right.
They don't have the money to pay buyer commissions, so it'd be interesting to see if we hear more on the lending side.
Right. And the lending side is going to have to make a determination with regards to that. However, realtors are also going to have to step up and look out for the customer.
Yeah.
With regards to the decisions and it's a situation like the great news is for us, we don't have to decide that. And it's not, and it's something that they're working out. And I think, July is the magic, threshold that's been put before us.
Yeah.
We'll see if it happens by then or if it still continues or if we wind up being just the same.
Well, a couple really felt like it some way or another, it's kind of go back to that.
Yes.
Maybe in a different format.
Yes,
But at the end of the day, they felt like there's going to be a really sticky period. Was the term I remember that one of them saying, where it's going to be all over the place.
Yeah.
You know, one thing like I mentioned in the Zoom call was that we need data to support. We can talk more loudly about why this is bad, why we need it. You know, buyers.
And that's all the conversation.
Right. So wouldn't you think that there would be data that comes out? Like, let's say, for example, hey, how come FHLB money hasn't run out after 4 months?
Right.
How come?
Right. Wow.
You know, why is there still grant money left?
That's a pretty powerful question.
Why is that happening?
Yet here we are.
Or like on the seller side, having data to say, look, if you have split buyer seller side commissions, the average is 6% above list price. If you don't provide anything
Right.
for the buyer side, it's this. So maybe that kind of stuff will come out too. I don't know.
Well, I think it opens the door for a number of mechanisms to take shape. And we have to be prepared from an education standpoint, as you said, to prepare the buyers for this. But somehow the industry works itself out, you know, it just does. So what makes Jason Slaughter the number one option in the Columbia market?
Yeah, I think from the FitzGerald side, it makes you feel strong and powerful to be able to say, we can do all of these things. Close faster than anybody. We have our own approved appraisers. I can call Dan if I need to.
Right.
Flexibility. We get things done. So to have that, it's just factual.
Yes.
And we're respected. Buyers might have never heard the name FitzGerald Financial Group, and I say that a lot, but listing agents know who we are.
They do.
When they see a pre-approval letter from us or a loan commitment, you know, okay.
Well, they know, they know who FitzGerald Financial is, and they also know who you are. You know what? Let me call him and find out what's the deal on this offer. Right. And that's usually how we wind up getting offers and how the deal gets ratified.
It's very interesting to see how many times the highest offer doesn't win.
Right.
We
were talking about that the other day, realtors and I said it's not always about the highest offer. It's also a trust factor of who's doing the loan and who they could trust to deliver. But sometimes the highest offer, you wind up back at square one a couple of weeks later because you find out that person wasn't prepared because, you know, I'm not saying because they didn't go through Jason Slaughter or they didn't go through FitzGerald Financial, but if they did, they would have been prepared. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, as far as me, you know, one thing that social media has done, it's another layer of someone to be able to see, is this who I want to work with? You know, I want people to want to work with me. And so if I can't do the face-to-face, which a lot of people still don't want to do or can't, time constraints and all that kind of stuff, you know, the social media, doing Zooms, that way, because as much FaceTime, whether they're seeing me on a screen or whatever, the more opportunity they're going to have to decide, hey, I think I trust this guy. Hey, he's kind of fun too. You know, it's a trust factor. And look, we know it's a stressful business. It can be a lot to buy a home. We ask for 1 million pieces of paper and then we ask for another 100 later. And that's where I think I kind of shine is like, I'll play around, I have fun, I put them at ease. If I ask for a piece of paper, I joke around about it and I say, look, we're almost there, we're almost to the finish line.
When realtors and customers think of you, what product are they thinking of?
But it seems like my sweet spot is people buying homes in that $300,000, $700,000 range. When I think of who my clients are, I feel like a lot of them are past clients that I've helped many times over the years. Now what's happening, they're referring the kids. It makes you feel good.
Yes, I can't thank you enough for doing this. I appreciate you.